Hello friends, welcome to Krishna's Academy. In the previous class, we have started a new chapter, Plant Anatomy, where we describe the meristematic tissue. I hope all have a clear understanding of it. Today's topic is simple permanent tissue. Let's start it. Before starting the simple permanent tissue, we will discuss about the permanent tissue. What is permanent tissue? How these are formed? These are the basic points. In the previous class, we studied the three different terms: differentiation, dedifferentiation, and the redifferentiation. And the permanent tissue are formed by meristematic tissue after losing the capacity of division. This process is called differentiation. And there are two different type of the differentiation. Shape and structure will change. This is called as the structural differentiation, and they get modified to perform a specific function. This is called as physiological differentiation. Means during the differentiation, the cells show the changes in their shape, size, and get modified to perform a specific function. This process is called as the differentiation. All the permanent tissues are formed by this process only. Now, types of the permanent tissue. As we discussed in the previous class, permanent tissue is divided into simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue is divided into again parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, xylem, and phloem. Means the complex permanent tissue in xylem and phloem. Total permanent tissue is of 5 different types. 3 simple permanent and the 2 complex permanent tissue. Now, let's start the simple permanent tissue. The main property of this tissue is it is made up of only one type of the cell. Only one type of the cell, which are similar in origin, structure, development, and their function. And again, as we discussed already, simple permanent tissue is divided into parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Now, first one is parenchyma. The characteristics of the parenchyma is it is a living tissue. Intercellular spaces are present. Isodiametric cells. Cells may be spherical, oval, polygonal, or elliptical. Thin and cellulosic primary cell wall is present. A large central vacuole is present, which is the characteristic feature of the permanent tissue or the matured plant cell. And the next one is eccentric nucleus. What is the meaning of the eccentric nucleus? When a large central vacuole is formed, it occupies more than 90% volume of the cell. That's why the cytoplasm and nucleus get shifted towards the periphery. They are not located or present in the center of the cell. This condition is called the eccentric nucleus. This is the TS of parenchyma. This is the single cell in which the eccentric nucleus is present. Cytoplasm is peripheral, having a large central vacuole, and the cell wall is primary cell wall, and the large intercellular space are present. These intercellular space make the tissue soften. That's why it is named as the parenchyma. The meaning of the paren means is soft. Now, parenchyma show the different type of the modifications, but we will discuss only two main type of the modifications. The first one is chlorenchyma, which is present in all photosynthetic plants. Parenchyma having the chlorophyll is called chlorenchyma. And the chlorophyll gives the green color because it is a green colored pigment. That's why it is found in the green part of the plant, mainly in the mesophyll of the leaf, middle part of the leaf between the two epidermis. In dicot leaves, which are also called as dorsiventral leaves, chlorenchyma remain differentiate into upper palisade and the lower spongy parenchyma. This is the TS of dorsiventral leaf, in which this is the palisade, towards the upper epidermis, and this is the spongy parenchyma. The cells of the palisade are elliptical, having the small intercellular spaces, by the cells of the spongy parenchyma are loosely arranged and these are spherical. Such type of the differentiation means the upper palisade and the lower spongy parenchyma is absent in the monocot or isobilateral leaf. In the next topics, anatomy of the leaf, we will discuss about the dorsiventral and the isobilateral leaves. Dorsiventral leaves are those which have two different surface, upper surface and the lower surface. Both are entirely different. But in case of the isobilateral leaves, both the surfaces are of same type. Now, the function of the chlorenchyma. The only function of the chlorenchyma is the formation of food by photosynthesis. As you know, in the photosynthesis, CO2 and water, they react with each other and form the glucose. And oxygen is formed. In this process, light is used, which is absorbed by the chlorophyll. So, in the process of the photosynthesis, the presence of chlorophyll is necessary because this is the only pigment which absorbs the light for photosynthesis. Now, the next one is parenchyma. Parenchyma is generally found in hydrophytes. Hydrophytes are those plants which are present in water. And the three different types of the hydrophytes are present: submerged, floating, and the amphibious plant. It is well developed in the submerged hydrophytes and the floating hydrophytes. Submerged and floating. Submerged are those which are completely dipped in the water. They are present under the surface of water, and the floating on the surface of the water. Large intercellular spaces are present. Large intercellular spaces are present. This is the main property which makes the plant part lighter. The function of the parenchyma, gaseous exchange, and they provide the buoyancy, means helps in the flotation. These are the two main important functions of the parenchyma. Now, the next all over function of the parenchyma. Parenchyma is the tissue which is present in the all plants in a large amount. It forms the bulk of the body. The root, stem, leaves, these are mainly made up of the parenchyma. All the modification, the cortex, endodermis, epidermis, pith, all these are the parenchymatous structure. Even the mesophyll, as we described above, it is also the modified parenchyma. The function is next, storage of food. Some plants like the radish, carrot, turnip, or the stem of the some plants like the potato, colocasia, means arbi, all these are the example in which the food is stored. Next one is the secretion. Secretion of the nectar, oils, and the hormones. Resin is the waste product actually, but it is also stored by the parenchyma. Next one, photosynthesis. If the chlorophyll is present, if it is modified into the chlorenchyma, it helps in the photosynthesis. Gaseous exchange, yes, in the form of the parenchyma, it helps gaseous exchange, or in the form of the parenchyma, it also provides the buoyancy. And the most important function is the formation of the secondary meristem. In the last class, we discussed about the three terms. Again, I am describing it: differentiation, dedifferentiation, and redifferentiation. And secondary meristem develops by the dedifferentiation of the primary permanent tissue, especially by the parenchyma, because the incomplete cell or the dead cells are not able to regain the capacity of division, so they cannot be meristematic once again. Now, second type is collenchyma. Second type is collenchyma. What is collenchyma? It is also a living tissue. It is also a living tissue like the parenchyma. But the difference is, difference thickened wall. And the other property, living tissue, isodiametric cell, spherical or the polygonal cells, they may be elliptical also. Deposition of the pectin in the cell wall and the intercellular spaces. That's why the intercellular spaces may be absent or very small in size. Collenchyma forms the hypodermis in dicot plants, especially dicot plants in their stem, petiole. Okay, this is the most important question. The statement is hypodermis in dicot stem is collenchymatous. I am repeating again. Hypodermis in dicot stem is collenchymatous, that is, it is made up of the collenchyma. It is found in the young stem and the petioles. Okay, and it is absent. It is absent in monocots. Now the next function is, function of the collenchyma is, first is provide elasticity and mechanical support. Because it is thick walled, it gives the mechanical support, but the pectin is deposited instead of the lignin. That's why it also has the flexibility or provide the elasticity of the part. And the next function is photosynthesis if the chlorophyll is present. In the dicot plant, in the young stage, the stem has chlorophyll also. Whenever it becomes woody, it loses the hypodermis and it becomes brown in color. So young stem are capable for the photosynthesis due to the presence of the collenchyma having the chlorophyll. Now the last type is sclerenchyma. What is sclerenchyma? It is the dead tissue. It is dead tissue. Okay, it is dead tissue, and it is dead due to the deposition of the lignin in their wall, and the lignin containing wall will form the secondary cell wall. Means in the sclerenchyma, the two different wall or the layer are present. The first one is primary, which is made up of the cellulose, and the second is called as secondary cell wall, which is made up of the lignin mainly. And whenever the lignin get deposited, cell become impervious for the water and finally they will die. Now the next one is types of the sclerenchyma. Actually in cell, the two different conditions may be present. That's why the types of the cells are of two different types. They may be sclerites or they may be sclerenchymatous fibers. Generally, sclerites are oval or round, but they may be of different type. And according to their shape, we use the different term for the sclerites. Oval or round, these are called as the brachysclerites. Large rod shape, these are called as the macrosclerites. Bone shape, these are called as the osteosclerites. Star shape, these are called as the astrosclerites. And the hair like, these are called as the filiform. Okay, filiform. Next one, thick secondary cell wall. Okay, secondary cell wall has the deposition of the lignin. Highly lignified wall is present, and the lumen is very narrow as compared to the sclerenchymatous fibers. So they have narrow lumen, also called the stone cells, especially the brachysteroid, जो कि oval shape or they are round in shape, spherical in shape. These are named as the brachysclerites. Now, sclerites, these are found in fruit wall, pericarp, for example, in walnut, almond, coconut. Due to the presence of the sclerites, their fruit wall or the pericarp is very hard. In the walnut and the almond and coconut, they are present in their endocarp, inner fruit wall, in inner fruit wall. Next one is, these are present in the pulp of fruit, sapota or chiku, guava, and they are responsible for the grittiness of pulp. They are also present in the seed coat of the peas, beans, and the pulses. They are also present in the leaves. The example is the tea leaves. And this is the structure which is of stone cell or the sclerites. This is TS. This is primary cell wall. This is secondary cell wall. In the wall, the small pits are present, which are simple pits, and the lumen is very narrow. The second type of the cells which may be present in the sclerenchyma, these are sclerenchymatous fibers. These are long and thin. These are longest cell in plant. These are found in the xylem and phloem as their element, like xylem fibers and the phloem fibers. This is the LS of the sclerenchymatous fiber and this is the TS of the sclerenchymatous fiber. As compared to the sclerite, these are much longer. Sclerenchymatous fibers forms the hypodermis in monocot stem. In dicot, it was collenchymatous. In case of the monocot stem, it is sclerenchymatous. This is the big difference. And only function of the sclerenchyma, it provides the mechanical support to the plant, or it gives mechanical strength to the plant. So this is all about the three types of the simple permanent tissue: parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. So today's lecture is completed here. I hope all your doubts about the simple permanent tissue have been cleared. We request you to subscribe this channel, like it, share it with as many people as possible. Thank you.